Right, well, thank you for joining us. This is the Doctor Who Q&A, and I'd just like to ask you how you ended up in Doctor Who and what character you played.
Ended up? I hope I have.
How you ended up?
How you ended up in Doctor Who?
We ended up in Doctor Who. Are you new at this job?
Oh, yes. It's my first and my last day.
I ended up in Doctor Who purely by... Well, no, I ended up as a result of the BBC technicians, because they went on strike. And the Resurrection of the Daleks was meant to be done by another director with Michael Bishop playing Davros, and then they all went on strike and everything was shunted backwards a month. And by the time they came to remount it, the director had gone off to work on something else. Michael Bishop was in Australia on tour. A new director had come in. Funnily enough, I just finished working with at TBS for about 6 months. So we sprang around and said, "You're on," and that was it.
How did I end up playing I played the 6th incarnation of Doctor Who. I ended up doing that because it dates back to 1981, I think, when I received a phone call from my agent, and I was in Brighton doing a play, and he said, "You've been offered a smallish part in Doctor Who." A guy called Maxwell, who is the head of the Guard on Gallifrey, in a Peter Davison story called Arc of Infinity?
Yeah.
No. Yeah? What was it called? That's a novelty. He said it was 3 episodes and what the money was. And I said, "Yeah, that's all right." I said, "But it's a bit sad, really." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because it means I will never get to play Doctor Who." He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, they never cast the Doctor from anybody who's been in the show before." And my agent said, "Well, they're not going to cast you as Doctor Who, are they?" And I said, "No, you're probably right." Well, funny enough, he is still my agent. I did change, I went back to him. Anyway, long story. So I toddled along thinking I would never play the Doctor. To play Maxwell in Arc of Infinity. And the producer, John Nathan Turner, came to watch the run-through. In those days, it was done very differently to the way it's done now. Now it's recorded like a film. You know, you turn up on set, you do that scene, you move on to the next scene, and each day you learn the lines for the next day. In the old time when I was doing it, you rehearsed it the old days, back in the 80s. You did it like a play. So for a week you rehearsed in the lovely BBC actor rehearsal rooms, since demolished. You rehearsed for a week, and at the end of that week, the producer would come and watch you run through the whole thing. And then they marked out the set on the floor, and you did the whole show for him, and he would give notes to the director. Then you come back in the afternoon and change the bits that need to be changed. Then the following day, you go into the studio, and you have 2 days in the studio to record the episode. Kind of 10-day turnaround. So we've done our week's rehearsal of the first block of Arc of Infinity, and the producer came, and he walked over to me afterwards. Bearing in mind, I'd never met him to that point. And he said, "What's this programme called?" So I thought, he doesn't know the name of his own programme. What a moron. I said, "It's called Doctor Who." He said, "Oh, Doctor Who. It's not called Maxwell then." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, you're playing it as if you are the lead character in this." And I said, "Well, we're all the lead character in our own story, aren't we?" I said, "Maxwell has his story, and I am playing Maxwell's story. I'm not interested in this Doctor who is an irrelevance in my life, because I am Maxwell, head of the Guard on Gallifrey." He said, "And you've got a lot of attitudes about the Doctor, haven't you?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "We're seeing all of them." I said, yes, you are. "Could you ration it out a bit and just show us some of your attitude about the Doctor?" I said, "Oh, right." He said, "Well, let Peter have a bit of the screen." So in the end we laughed about it, because he said that was the most arch performance he'd ever seen in Doctor Who. And he said, "I'm going to call you Archie." And he called me Archie all the way through. But we laughed about it, and I moderated my performance. That's what rehearsal's about. You offer, they either accept or they change. And I changed it. And by the end, in the studio, John Nathan Turner and I shared a lot of laughs. We have a similar sense of humour, which is a little bit kind of camp, really, I must say. And that was the end of it as far as I was concerned. Wind forward a year, I got a phone call from John Nathan Turner saying, hello. Oh, I said, hello, John, how nice to chat. Can you come in and see me? I said, yes, if you like. What about it? He said, I'd rather tell you when you come. And I hung up and I said to my wife, I know what this is. It was June, and I had a moderate success in the past in a series called The Brothers, in which I was once voted by the readers of one of those national newspapers the most hated man in Britain, because I was a baddie in The Brothers. And I thought, because John had talked to me about The Brothers, how he'd enjoyed it, and I thought, I know what's going to happen. He's going to ask me to open his local Fate. Because producers always do that. In the summer, people know their producers and say, can you get someone to open our Fate for us? And he knew Peter probably wouldn't do it, so he was going to ask me. So I thought, all right, I'll go in and I'll open his rotten Fate. So we had lunch, and I said, what do you want to see me about? He said, well, Peter's leaving. I said, oh, I didn't know that. Who's taking over? He said, well, I'm hoping you will. And that's how I got the part. And he said, it's not an offer, but I want you to go away. And he gave me a load of tapes of all the previous Doctors who'd been recorded. And not every episode, obviously, but one of each. Have a look at them and tell me how you think you'd like to play the Doctor. So I went away, and a few days later I came back and said, I'd like to play it like me, really. I said, I'd like him. It turns out everybody says the same thing. I want it to be fairly obvious he's an alien and not a human being. Therefore, he may not always react with the same kind of human emotion you would expect. So, for instance, the example I gave is he might step over a dead human being with no emotion at all to pick up a butterfly with an injured wing. And he'd have empathy for that, which might shock some people. That kind of thing. He might be looking for the greater good rather than the immediate fix. And I said, and I think human beings are pathetic, and I think you ought to let them know that some of the time when they're being pathetic, which might be seen as arrogance, quite rightly. If someone with a brain 10 times the size of mine saw the way I behaved and attempted to lead me on the straight and narrow, I'd appreciate it. You puny human beings don't, for some reason. You like to think you're the best, but you're not. Oh, I'm one, aren't I? Oh, yes, I am one. Yeah, I've got that. Anyway.
You're not. We are on that same.
We are on that same wavelength, yes. Anybody out there?
Yeah.
Oh, just checking. We talked about that, and then he said, right, there's only one hurdle you have to overcome, and that is the head of series and serials has to approve you. So I forgot his name now. He was nice anyway. He said, come back next Monday to meet him. So I came back next Monday, and there was a test match on at Edgbaston where Ian Botham was playing Australia all on his own. And I was listening to that on the radio, and it was an exciting bit, but I had to go in to meet the head of series and serials with John. So I went in upstairs, opened the office, and there was a man sitting in front of a television watching cricket, going, oh, I'll be with you in a minute. I said, oh, can I watch? And I went and sat down with him. But John Nathan Turner, who had no interest in cricket whatsoever, going, Doctor, just a minute, be quiet. And we watched till there was a suitable break. He said, yeah, he'll do, he's fine, yeah. Doctor, new Doctor, yeah, excellent. Because I loved cricket. Unlike the previous Doctor who did love cricket. But I love cricket too. So that's how I got the part. Is that an hour up now?
Doctor.
That was a long story, wasn't it?
One thing I wanted to ask was...
Nah, don't bother.
Not everyone knows, but I'm a big fan of Big Finish. And both of your characters, people might realise, but you've been playing the Doctor and Davros for years now in the audios, and you've both had a chance to expand the characters, and you've been allowed to run away with it, really. You've had lots of companions. Davros's history has been explored and all kinds of things. So I don't know if you just mention that, or...
Shall I go first this time? Then I'll pass it to you. All right? My favourite stories I do on Big Finish are the ones with him. Because for me, Davros is kind of like what the Master could have been. The Master is deviated from the Master of the Delgado master. I used to have that suave, elegant master. And Anthony Ellie was fine, but he never got good stories, I don't think. And the Davros, because Davros is a genius who has created these awful monsters and has decimated himself in the process, but he's still relentlessly trying to rule the world. But he is clever. So the stories they've done on Big Finish have pitted the Doctor and Davros together, and Davros actually nearly succeeds in convincing everyone that he is a kind, benevolent man who ought to be put in charge. A bit like Donald Trump, really. Yeah, and in the end, you don't want lunatics in charge, but occasionally you get them.
That's what you end up with.
Yes.
After Hours in the Summer.
Yes, yes. So, in that respect, I love doing the Davros stories. I wish there were more. But that, in general, Big Finish, for me, enabled me to bring my Doctor, not even kicking and screaming, but gratefully, into a new life, where all the unfinished business of my time on television, we were able to satisfy and develop the character. So we saw who the Sixth Doctor really was. And there are some stories in there that I'm inordinately proud of. They're, in the main, so much better than anything I did on television, to be honest. Some of them were good, but none of them were as uniformly good as you get on Big Finish. Because most of the guys writing for it were fans of Doctor Who in the 70s and 80s, who are now respected members of the profession and write and direct and produce. And they're doing really good stuff. And if you haven't heard Big Finish, the only difference between Big Finish and watching it on telly is everyone's better looking. Because on telly, if you say the most beautiful girl in the world, all of you looking at it will go, yeah, they're all right, or my sister-in-law's better looking than that. Whereas on audio, that best looking person in the world is your imagination. The monster, you hear it, but seeing it is in your imagination. The scariness, you are an active part of creating that story. That's why I love audio. And television is fine, and it's a bit lazy. It's much easier to watch television, have all the work done for you. But I promise you, if you haven't listened to a Big Finish, take the 2 hours, even if you're driving the car, stick it in, if you go a 1 hour journey each way on your commute, listen to it on the way up, the second half on the way back, and the stories are much more vivid and real, I think, on audio, and I love them. So I'm a big champion, not just because they pay me a living, but because a small living, but because they're good.
Absolutely, I mean, everything Colin said is right. I mean, I spent most of my life in radio, and I'm thinking of doing an autobiography which would be called A Life Less Visible, because I don't think many people have seen my actual face on television, on stage maybe. But yeah, in audio, for an actor, doesn't matter what you look like. I can still play 180 pounds of whipcord muscle and steely-eyed killer. I could anyway in real life, couldn't I? Yeah, because you create that with your voice. And in a sense, it's how I came into Davros, because the character is created through the voice. Because the masks we had in those days were very immobile. You couldn't, move them without moving your mouth, very exaggeratedly to get any sort of movement on the outside of the mask. And doing the Big Finishes is great. They didn't have to wear the mask. And working with Colin again was fantastic. And yeah, we saw that development of the characters that you can only begin to touch on in the actual studio itself. It's nice to see that they're finally catching up with us. We did Davros 10 years ago, and they finally caught up with the idea of having Davros as a young man. But hey, that's the way it goes. It's a slow burn for the TV side of things. But we did all that, and it's great to explore that relationship between the Doctor and Davros. It's like, it's not the bangs and the blowing ups, it's the intellectual chess game, three-dimensional chess that they play with each other all the time, because they both know they're on the same intellectual level, they both know they're alone, and it's like, who's going to push who off the pedestal this time, So you get somewhere, I think the very first one we did, Davros, with, halfway through, people saying, God, the Doctor's been a bit of a... He's really, Davros is a nice guy and he's doing good things, and the Doctor's been all snarky and snarky about it, Of course, by the end, Davros does show his real colours, but, it's part of the game. It's part of that whole game. And that's the joy of radio, the joy of audio, that you create. Well, you create. The pictures are always so much better on radio because they're in your head and they are unique to you. And as I say, we can play around with a vast range of characters that we wouldn't normally be able to do if we were doing them on film or television or stage.
And of course, where we're lucky is more or less our voices haven't changed. Because some people, when they get to the far stage I am now, their voices sound different. But mine, I am reliable, except at the moment, I'm not frog. Mine, I'm reliably informed, sounds credible as the Sixth Doctor still, and you certainly do. So, Davros is Davros is already
to begin with, yeah.
I'm doing another one next week. I'm doing they're doing a new box set of New Monsters, Old Doctors. So I'm not allowed to tell you which my new monster is, which is just as well because I can't remember.
I remember reading somewhere in the Doctor Who magazine that the Sixth Doctor was actually voted the most popular for Big Finish. When the range, when you really started getting going after about 2 or 3 years, the Sixth Doctor, shot right up to the most popular Doctor.
However, to be consistent, anyone who is thank you very much. Anyone who is familiar with me and the Doctor Who magazine will know that I have complained bitterly about their polls and loathe,
Who's your favourite Doctor?
I suppose, who's your favourite's all right. So if you say 60% of people put Tom Baker as their favourite, fair enough. Put them all in order from 1 to 12 means someone is 12, and it's usually me or Bill Hartnell. And I don't like it, obviously. Even if I was number 1, I would feel uncomfortable about it. So they have said, yes, best audio Doctor, or because they finally see who 6E is.
The most developed.
That was very nice. But I wish they would do it to the writers as well. The last season, they had 7 writers, vote for your favourite, and they publish best, second best, and the percentage. So some poor writer has seen his work in that magazine as 2% of people put yours as favourite, which covers up the fact that they probably all liked it, but the other was the favourite. I'll give it to you in a minute.
Yeah, you get those polls. I got really ticked off recently because Davros always seems to go top of the poll, but recently in a sci-fi magazine, he was knocked off the number 1 spot by Mr. Burns from The Simpsons.
Boo. What, in a Doctor Who poll?
No. TV villains.
You mean you were number 1?
Oh, yes.
Wow, I'm impressed. Oh, you like polls then, don't you?
No.
Well, if you're either first or second, you're probably 2.
Yes.
Well, I don't.
Be 12th.
Do they do Davros polls?
No.
You, Michael Wisher, and
No.
that new upstart.
Yes, whoever he is. Yes. Mr. Telestros.
I've got to say this. I hope you're not recording it. If you are, I hope you don't put it anywhere. But I remember being sad because Terry was not cast as Davros in the new series, and then heard they were doing it in a completely different way. So I thought, oh well, fair enough. If he's 2 feet tall, Latvian, I can understand the difference. I watched it. It was as if he'd had lessons from you on how to play it. It was exactly the same, only not as good.
Thank you.
We've got time for just one question. And I saw that guy first.
No, you go, good. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
No, go.
Little me, stand up, so we can all see you, the glory of you.
Come on, show
A round of applause.
Yay!
Obviously, you're a big fan of the show yourself, so I was wondering what it was like to work alongside Patrick Troughton in The 2 Doctors.
Brilliant. Yeah, really good.
That was the best. Because in the days when I would be drawn on that subject, they said, who's your favourite Doctor? For one reason only, because the most difficult job that there ever was in Doctor Who was the first regeneration. And if whoever came along as number 2 hadn't done something to mark out his own territory, to be the same but enough different to keep the interest, the programme would have died then. And Patrick Troughton, who was a consummate actor, came up with that character of that kind of louche, cosmic hobo, sly, devious, shambolic. There was just something utterly irresistible about him. And he kind of bolted Doctor Who onto our television screens forever because of that first change. So for me, he was the governor. So to work with him on the 2 Doctors and find that he was not only a talented actor, a generous, warm man. I'd known him before because David, his son, who was also in Doctor Who occasionally, and I shared a flat when we were young actors. And I had been best man when David got married. So Patrick obviously was at the wedding and I met him then. But it was a bit of I am not worthy about me meeting him. But he was just divine, a great sense of humour. Well, he had to have. He'd been working with Fraser Hines for all those years. And you either kill Fraser or you have a sense of humour. And he chose the latter course, somewhat more protective of his liberty.
Another question?
Yeah, do you want another? Yeah, we'll take one more question.
So, what was your favourite episode of Doctor Who that you weren't in?
I can do that. You can do that.
I can do that. My favourite episode of Doctor Who that I weren't in was The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances. The gas masks one, for those of you who remember stories rather than titles. Because I'm a school governor, and I was the governor of a primary school, and the following Monday, after that was on, all the kids in the playground were going around saying, "Are you my mummy? Are you my mum?" And I thought, yes, Doctor Who is back. Because that's what Doctor Who used to do. Doctor Who used to... The tricky job that Doctor Who should do is what Roald Dahl managed to do brilliantly with books, which is scare children a little bit too much. So the parents might be a bit worried about them reading that book or watching it. Not scare them out of their wits, but not scare them so they're not propelled behind the sofa either. And that story got it right, because it was scary, and it ended up with the best line ever in Doctor Who for me, "Everybody lives," is what Chris said. What's his name? Chris Eccleston said. Because in that story, despite all the apparent deaths, they hadn't died. Those little things restored them. And it was his joy in saying everybody lives. And I thought, yes, this is, not only is the Doctor back, but this is the Doctor. I thought Christopher Eccleston did despite being a northerner. I loved it when he said in some interview that he was, first northerner to play Doctor Who. Excuse me, I come from Manchester. Sylvester comes from Liverpool. No, Scotland. Tom Baker comes from Liverpool. I'm sure David Tennant was after him, but there were quite a few northerners in there before Chris, but I'll let him off that solecism and forgive him because he was such a good Doctor. But that was my favourite story. You've had time to think now.
No, you're right. I mean, actually, the Doctor's moving further and further north. I understand that Benny from ABBA is going to be playing the Doctor. So we've got the Swedish Doctor. Hello. Yes, it was for that. Okay. Yeah.
I prefer Agneta.
Oh, yes. The Doctor Who story I'd most like to have been in is the recent one with Capaldi and young Davros, but I wasn't in it. So there we
I haven't seen that one.
have you know, that is really good. The story is very good because it is that, as I was talking about, that bang between Davros and the Doctor, they're playing the game with each other. And that's that. I thought, yeah, you've actually cropped it there. And I'd love to have done it with Capaldi as well, because I think he's such a good actor. It's an odd show, isn't it? I know what you mean about Eccleston taking over. I thought he was stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, you're talking about scary stories. I couldn't watch the other half of The Empty Child for about a month after I saw the first one. I was so scared. I thought, no, no, absolutely not.
Really?
My horror of horrors. And I really couldn't watch it. And eventually I said, no, it's fine. It's fine. I just saw all sorts of horrible things about to happen. And finally I watched it. And you're right, yeah, that few. But also Eccleston, for me, was just superb. With the first episode of Dalek, when they brought Dalek back, and he went into the cell and he saw the Dalek in chains. The look of fear in his eyes was just palpable when he was faced with what he thought had now gone forever. It was just a brilliant piece of acting.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, all strengths to Pat Troughton for bringing him from the first Doctor into the second, and for Eccleston in bringing him from the old series into the new series. Yeah, thank you.
I'm so thrilled and happy to hear you speaking so warmly of the show, you know, because we all love it, don't we? And, you know, let's just give Doctor Who a round of applause. His first story, the Power of the Daleks, they've now animated because it's been lost. So that's available on DVD. So you can go back and watch all the old episodes again, and just brilliant. And we've got our cosplay competition next, so I'm going to have to wind this up now.
No, we're in costume. We've got to guess who we are.
So, just thank you very much for doing the Q&A for us. Yes, yeah.
I'm having a lovely time here.
The problem is there's
somebody else coming in?
There's all these cosplay, these people who are dressed up.
Not Red Dwarf, is it?
No, there's lots of people dressed up. Is Optimus Prime? I was at a convention in Australia. I was sitting with Mark Addy, we're just looking at all the cosplays around. There's some stunning stuff. A guy came dressed as Optimus Prime. You know, the changes. He was about 9 foot tall. You know, and it was all metal and something, you know.
Could you go back into the car?
More or less, yeah. But it was in 32 degrees of heat. I thought, you know, you guys must be, you know, absolutely supermen to spend time, you know, dressed up like that. If I was doing cosplay, it'd be a character who hasn't been invented yet, who lies in a hammock wearing a caftan and drinking a cocktail. That'd be like somebody pushes me around.
In the hammock.
In the hammock, yeah, perfect. Thanks for having us, chaps.